We are live inside Radio City Music Hall, the Art Deco jewel right in the middle of Midtown Manhattan. It is time for the 10th time in the history of NFL Network to cover an NFL draft. Welcome to the 2013 NFL Draft right here live in high definition in color.
Good evening and welcome everybody to the 2013 NFL Draft. The Kansas City Chiefs are now on the clock.
There you go, Andy Reid. Nice Hawaiian shirt out of Coach Reid right there. Ooh, Nicely done. Maybe, is that a sign they're taking tail, maybe? I don't know. Oh, there he is. And then there's the draft party. They seem poised to get right back in that mix in the AFC West. And you believe there's going to be a left tackle that's going to join them, unless the phone might be ringing in that war room right now.
I think you give it a little time right now to germinate. I think if you have an opportunity to move down, that would be of interest. However, with the uncertainty surrounding your current left tackle, Brandon Albert, where he might land and what you might get in exchange for him, I really do believe, regardless of all the rest of it, it will be an offensive tackle, and in my belief, Eric Fisher, the #1 tackle on my board.
With the first pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Eric Fisher, tackle, Central Michigan.
So talk about a first. First time in a long time that we didn't know who the first overall pick was going to be. And a first, it's a Central Michigan Chippewa, the school that sent Dick Enberg out into the world. Dan Meyerly.
That is amazing.
Now sends Eric Fisher to Kansas City.
I feel about him. He's a Pro Bowl left tackle. People didn't wanted to question him going to the Senior Bowl. He's from a smaller school in the MAC. I put on the tape against Michigan State where he pitched a shutout, then against Iowa where he pitched a shutout, and I thought he had as good a week as anybody did in Mobile, and it kind of shut up all the critics and announced that he had arrived. That's Alex Okafor, probably a second-round pick from Texas. Watch him re-anchor and drive Okafor's butt back across the line of scrimmage. He's got a little nasty to him. His pass pro is easy. We're talking about 6'6", 306 pounds. Look at him take that inside arm and lock it out. Again, easy pass pro, run him by the quarterback. Easy pass pro, sit your butt down, good control. Goal line, watch this on the second level. Keep your eye, he drives them into the end zone. How about, can he pull and locate? Yeah, he can. The only thing I've seen on this kid where I'd say he'd have to improve a little bit, and it's most tall tackles. He plays a little high sometimes, and a young tackle in the NFL is going to get punched in the face and bull rushed a couple times before he learns he's got to sit it down.
And Mike, that will come because the two games that you mentioned, Iowa and Michigan State, he was pretty good. His guy didn't touch the quarterback, but he'll get that kind of competition every day.
Justin Blackmon, Blaine Gabbert, Tyson Alualu, Eugene Monroe, and Derek Harvey really have not panned out, to say the least. The commissioner now with the latest Jacksonville Jaguar
turn right
pick.
here.
Big pick.
With the second pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Luke Joeckel, tackle,
So
Texas A&M.
Tackle. They go Luke Joeckel, who's on the phone right now with the Jaguars. Surprise you at all, Mike? Or no?
Not at all, and I applaud the move, as a matter of fact, because in my opinion, and we can argue about the quarterback here, but what I like is for the first time in a while, the Jacksonville Jaguars have an identity on offense. They've got a left tackle by the name of Eugene Monroe, who's a top 10 tackle in the NFL. Now they're going to plug this kid on the right side. They've got bookend tackles.
To sit in that meeting room, so that maybe they're saying, with Fish here, we'll give you a year or so to work with the young Blaine Gabbert while we put everything else together and give them an opportunity, and they go get the big tackle.
It's the first time in the Super Bowl era that tackles have gone 1-2 atop the NFL draft. It's the second straight year that the same position went 1-2 atop the NFL draft. Last year it was the quarterbacks, and now...
How about 37 consecutive starts? And what I really admire about him is they don't slide their protection, meaning that both tackles are on an island every single game. You could see him pick up an X stunt there. Very easy movement skills. He hustles on the backside of zone. Here he is getting out on a screen pass. He's probably got the most hip snap in the run game for all the elite offensive tackles. He's intelligent. He's got a great work ethic. He's a plug-and-play starting tackle in this league for the next 8 to 10 years. He hustles down the field. He understands how to bend. And I really believe, again, I love the fact that they're going to try and give Gabbert a chance. Whether or not you agree with Gabbert, they're going to give this kid a chance to succeed.
Daniel Jeremiah and Ian Rappaport for the buzz on this pick. Gentlemen?
Rich, you mentioned the Raiders haven't made a selection in the first round in quite some time. There is no guarantee here the Raiders actually do make the selection. They've been fielding calls all day. There's a ton of interest in this number 3 pick with the top 2 tackles off the board. A lot of people want Lane Johnson, the only other elite left tackle. This could get interesting, a ton of interest in this pick.
Yeah, there's a lot of interest in the pick, and there's a lot of speculation of where the Raiders could go. DJ Hayden has been mentioned here, the corner from Houston, all the way up at number 3. We got Lane Johnson, and we also have Sharif Floyd, a defensive tackle. Rich, this team needs a lot of help in a lot of areas, and everybody's up in the air with where they're going to go right here.
And one of the reasons why they need a lot of help in a lot of areas is because of the misfires that they've had in the first round. Jamarcus Russell, Huff, and they've got 2 3s and 2 2s.
Yeah.
And they also have the 12th overall pick, obviously.
Yeah. This is Lane Johnson, right?
Has to be Lane Johnson.
They are going to get Tannehill's best friend. This is going to be his roommate for years to come.
Right. And then Marshall, they signed Mike Wallace. They re-signed Brian Hartline. They went out and got Brandon Gibson, Dustin Keller at tight end. It all adds up to we will compete this year.
They have their quarterback
when they let Jake Long go, that's the one big hole.
The Oakland Raiders have traded the 3rd pick to the Miami Dolphins. With the 3rd pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Dion Jordan, defensive end, Oregon.
It wasn't for Lane Johnson. It's Dion Jordan, the Oregon Duck, whose former college coach is now on the clock in Philadelphia. He is now going to South Florida.
The player that I compare him to, which is Jason Taylor, who ironically played for the Miami Dolphins. I also think he looks a little bit like an Aldon Smith.
Yep.
And if he puts on 20 pounds on that 6'7" frame, someday he might even be good as a DeMarcus Ware. He's got that kind of edge speed. And boy, was I wrong.
You know, I talked to his coach, Nick Aliotti, the other day, his defensive coordinator at Oregon. And he said this kid loves football. He loves to play. He loves to practice. He's fully committed right now to football. This guy has got everything that it takes, not only to rush the passer, but to drop in coverage at over 6'6". This guy, when he puts on a little muscle, he's going to be dynamite.
And to guys like that, he's played tight end before, so you'll watch and you'll see a guy like that come off the end, falls off, get an interception, take the ball to distance. Miami's looking for game changers in a football game, to make plays like you talked about, Marshall, because you know on the other side you got guys like Tom Brady. This guy is a game changer.
Here he is, he's standing up here. He at 6'7", he's only 240. He can flatten and bend. Here he is with his hand in the dirt. This is what you're gonna see in the future. Hand in the dirt, nice handwork. Now watch him flatten to the quarterback. Uses the hands, gets to the quarterback. Remember, I believe he puts 20-plus pounds on over the next 2 years. Little spin move inside, explodes to the quarterback.
What's that motor like, Mike? What's that motor like?
Motor's excellent. As a matter of fact, at Oregon, they even put him out over the slot and had him disrupt the slot in pass coverage. The one thing is he had shoulder surgery. Look at that movement right there.
Wow.
He had shoulder surgery that's been fixed, and that's one of the reasons why he couldn't put the weight on.
And the cost to move up the 9 slots to take him was the 42nd overall pick, their highest second-round choice. The Dolphins have Dion Jordan out of Oregon.
Well, Rich, to me, when you talk to people around the league, the biggest takeaway from this, the Dolphins still have number 54 available. That Brandon Albert trade still can happen.
And I look for either Lane Johnson or Star Lotulelei with the Eagles.
We saw the commissioner in the background pass you guys by. Let's get the pick from the Eagles.
With the 4th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Lane Johnson, tackle, Oklahoma.
Okay, Mike, have at it.
Well, that's who I had in my mock draft of the Eagles. I think he makes a ton of sense. He's the most athletic offensive tackle in the draft. And guys, what's Chip Kelly going to do? Chip Kelly's going to run up-tempo, maximize the number of snaps per game. He's got to have offensive linemen that can run, that are in great shape. This kid played junior college football as a quarterback. Watch this, guys. This is him 4 years ago as a quarterback. Play action, pretty good. Now watch this next play. We're going to run boot into the sideline. This is our 310-pound tackle right here.
Unbelievable.
How beautiful is that right there?
It's unbelievable. He is now going to be the protector of Michael Vick or Nick Foles or whoever it is who thinks is going to be there in Philadelphia. It's not this year, but beyond. And as we've done all night long with the prospects coming out, following them essentially since birth.
I love that.
Through their childhood years as they come out to hug the commissioner and shake his hand, the culmination of a childhood dream come true. Here at Radio City Music Hall, Lane Johnson is going to take maybe he'll take the Acela down tonight to get to Philadelphia to meet his new coach.
You know, Rich, if I was Michael Vick right now, I'd feel special that my left tackle understands what it's like to get sacked.
Oh, perfect.
I would love having him.
Perfect.
Because if he give up one, I just have to look at him and say, big fella, you know what this feels like.
Right, you're right.
That's perfect.
Hey,
that is perfect.
Well done.
Let me tell you what this move does, though. They have 3 players on their offensive line over 30. They already have, if healthy, the premier left tackle in the league in Jason Peters. So you start this kid at right tackle year 1. Remember, he's only been a tackle for 2 years.
What are we thinking here, Mike? What are we thinking here?
I think it's got to be Ziggy Ansah. Cliff Avrill's gone. Ronnell Lewis got arrested a couple of weeks ago. They've got nobody at defensive end. I really believe it's got to be Ziggy Ansah. Maybe the first or second best edge guy in this draft, depending on you like Jordan or not.
And the commissioner.
Yeah, and the other guy that's not there anymore, Kyle Vanden Bosch. You're talking about a couple guys, man. They need.
The commissioner is not the one making the pick. Making the first-round pick is Barry Sanders.
Wow.
Who's going to grace this year's cover of EA Madden 25. There's the running back.
Okay, we have a special guest to announce Detroit's selection. Please welcome one of the greatest players in NFL history and the cover athlete of Madden NFL 25 as selected by you, the fans, Hall of Famer Barry Sanders.
I want to thank the 40 million strong that voted me on the cover of Madden NFL 25. It's a huge honor. With the 5th pick of the 2013 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Ezekiel Ansah, defensive end, BYU.
Got it. So we have, coming out of the green room, a young man who just a couple years ago hadn't even played the sport. We have a 5th overall pick in this draft with 4.5 career sacks.
Please understand the magnitude of this story. The reason he's playing football is that the BYU basketball team cut him twice. Then he went to the track team. He never came to football until 2010 as a walk-on. Now he's 6'5", he's 270 pounds, and he's got frightening physical skills. Coming off the edge at the Senior Bowl, he dominated the football game, but Rich Eisen told you, and there's the picture of him growing up as a boy in Ghana. Several months later, he's the number 5 pick in the draft.
Unreal.
He's a boom or bust candidate. I love the kid, I'm rooting for him. 3 years from now, he's an all-pro or he's on the streets.
Wow.
And I don't mean that negatively. I'm just saying it's a projection.
This is a real good pick by Martin Mayhew over there in Detroit, because you mentioned the basketball, but then when he ran track 10,900 meters, this guy can fly now 4.63 at the combine. But you talk about need, because they've got some tackles in Ndamukong Suh, Nick Fairley, but when you lose Averill and Van Bosch, you need some outside presence. This guy will give you that.
Hey, Michael, there is a play in the Senior Bowl game where Denard Robinson, the quarterback from Michigan, is playing wide receiver.
Right.
They give him the ball on a reverse, and he gets initially fooled on the reverse. He opened his hips, he stuck his foot in the ground, and he chased Denard Robinson down with no angle. And I went, wow.
Mike,
and that right there is when he got drafted. Right there is when he got drafted.
Ziggy Ansah is the first BYU top 10 pick since Jim McMahon was chosen 5th overall by the Bears in 1982. That's how long it's been. The Browns, let's turn our attention now to this team, Michael. We're real quick, because we got the commissioner coming up, I guess, in a half minute.
I think this is where my mock draft begins to fall apart. I got 4 of the first 5, and now I have no confidence in my pick right here.
Maybe it's Geno Smith. I mean, maybe it could be him.
I have no confidence whatsoever in my pick.
Well, there you go. The Mayock mock draft is out the window.
I'm pretty happy with 4 for 5.
With the Cleveland Browns selection in the 2013 draft.
With the 6th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Barkevious Mingo, defensive end, LSU.
Another edge rusher. That is the 3rd edge rusher, which tells you that it's a pass-first league, and every team in the league is looking for a guy that can go hunt. You know who Mingo reminds me of? Last year's draft, the 15th pick overall from West Virginia, Bruce Irvin. He's almost the exact same height, weight, and speed. He ran 4.5 at the combine at 240 pounds, and he's an explosive presence off the edge.
And he either knew he was going to be drafted by the Browns, or he had the pocket square in his back pocket. It matches his new team color. Mike Mayock.
They have 2 major needs, an edge rusher, and the 3 main guys are off the board, and offensive linemen. Now here's what I think they're going to do. Levi Brown is back at left tackle. Bobby Massey played better at the end of the year at right tackle than people think. Who did they trade for to play quarterback? Carson Palmer. He can still spin it when protected. What bothers veteran quarterbacks the most? Immobile veteran quarterbacks. It's pressure right up the middle.
Guards.
For me, I'm taking a guard, and I'm going to take the best pass blocking guard. That's Jonathan Cooper from North Carolina. So I'm thinking it's Jonathan Cooper because of all the edge guys off the board.
The GMC best players available on your draft board, Mike Mayock. We'll check it out right now. And of the folks available, you've got Sharif Floyd up at the top. With Chance Warmack right behind him, but you say Cooper's a better pass protector.
I think he's a better fit. He's a little better in space. He's a little bit better pass protection.
Here is the Cardinals pick.
With the 7th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Jonathan Cooper, guard, North Carolina.
Got it.
You got that on spot on there, Mike. So Jonathan Cooper wearing his Carolina blue tie and matching pocket square. He's going to have to switch that up for some red now as he is going to Arizona. And there is Bruce Arians in his trademark Kangol. Apparently he's going to ask to see if he can wear it on the sideline this year.
Yeah, that's Bruce standing up with the Kangol. Sitting in the chair with the phone in his ear is Steve Keim, the new GM. And I think that is a great pick. I really do. You plug him in inside, your offensive line's better, your run game is better. Remember, they signed Richard Mendenhall. Ryan Williams is an explosive young running back. So I think this team just got better.
Back in 1985, when Lomas Brown was part of that mix.
A road grader. He just looked like somebody I love to run behind. I'll follow him.
And talk about dependable and durable. This guy's got 47 starts under his belt without missing a game. And to pass protect Mike, like you said, but when Carson Palmer's back in the shotgun and one-back set, this guy's terrific at the one-back power because he can really run, and their screen game just improved because this guy can get out in front.
fight at the line of scrimmage.
And here he is at the combine. He bench pressed 225 35 times. And Marshall, you're talking about a space player. This is as good a interior player with feet that I've seen in years. Okay, he's got natural bending skills. North Carolina asked him to play at 287 this year. He lost the weight and he played there, but he's back up to his natural 3.5 to 3.10. Mooch, I loved your point about the screen game. This guy's going to get out in front and make everybody happy.
Mike, I heard
there's the pole. That's the skip pole right there, and there's the locate.
Oh, and I like that short. You talked about it earlier, Mike, him having ability to have that short punch. Reminds me a lot of Larry Allen. When you get him in short space and he punches you, it hurts.
Now, you heard earlier on that the Rams, from one of our guys, were coveting Tavon Austin. Coveting him, and might pop up to go and get him. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's what it's for, but pit crew, Ian Rappaport and Daniel Jeremiah, the Rams have just popped up to number 9 overall, striking a trade with the Bills.
Yeah, this is kind of what we were referencing earlier, Rich. The Rams seem to be smitten with Tavon Austin. They've made the bold move now, it seems like, to go up and get Tavon Austin. Although we also thought the Dolphins might be moving up for Lane Johnson. We don't know for sure, but all signs point to this being Tavon Austin to come in and take over for Danny Amendola, who took off.
No, that's absolutely right, Rich. You know, this has been the story all day. Everyone thought you needed to get up over the Jets at number 9 to take Tavon Austin.
In the commercial break. So the Rams using their 2nd, 3rd, and 7th round selections and their 1st round selection, obviously, to go up the 8 spots. They also get a 3rd from the Bills to go ahead and select somebody here, 8th overall. And the Jets are 2 and change now inside of their 9th overall selection.
And I think Michael Irvin has a kind of interesting point here on both these trades. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask you guys, because we're going over these charts and what each trade may mean. Miami made a trade. I ask you right away, did they get value with the Oakland trade? And what did you say to me?
Based on the charts, no way. They just wanted to get out and get an extra pick.
Here's the commissioner.
Bills have traded the 8th pick to the St. Louis Rams. With the 8th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the St. Louis Rams select Tavon Austin, wide receiver, West Virginia.
And listen, let me tell you something. We talked about it. You lose Danny Amendola, who's a great young wide receiver, gave you help inside, but also had the ability to get outside. Now you got what I call a 4-down player. That's exactly what he is. He is a 4-down player. And I got that term from the coach of the Green Bay Packers when he talks about this guy right here, Randall Cobb. You can put him anywhere. Tavon Austin, you can play him underneath. He'll make plays underneath. You can put him in the backfield. He'll make plays in the backfield. 1st, 2nd, 3rd down, and on 4th down, you kick the ball to him, and he's very dangerous. This guy is fast. Marshall, we talked about this, Marshall. You get guys like this that are fast, but they're extra special when they're this fast and they understand leverage and angles, and he does.
You know, we often talk about guys and we put them in positions and we say this is what they play. When you watch Tavon Austin play, you see football player. I think if you put him on defense, he could probably be a cover corner. He could probably play the slot. I just believe that he's a football player. His athletic skills are like none other. I love him with the ball in his hands. I love him tracking the football. He's a route runner. He understands concepts. I believe Sam Bradford is the luckiest man alive because, yes, he lost Danny Amendola, but he has a kid who has not been hurt in college, and he's dependable.
And he now has Jake Long to protect him as well. And also, Les Snead called the RG3 trade a rock of the organization based on the number of picks that they got in the future. They're still sitting at 22 tonight.
Yeah, and that's why I thought that the RG3 trade was a win-win for both teams. Now, what this kid is, forget about 173 pounds. You saw him line up wide. Watch the move he puts on right here. Boom. Doesn't even touch him. 173 pounds against Oklahoma. He carried the ball at the I-back position over 20 times. Here's Marshall, watch this. Jet sweep right here. 3 guys get him, right?
Don't cut.
See ya.
Yeah.
Now watch this gear right here.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you got to wake up with
Danny Amendola can't do that now. I love Danny, but
let me tell you,
for the Jets,
they're a little bit stuck because the 3 major edge guys are gone. The explosive wide receiver is gone, and now you've got to look at your board. Sharif Floyd is there. Any corner you want is there. An offensive lineman at right tackle is there. And to be honest with you guys, I'm a little surprised that's all gone this early for the Jets. My guess is Sharif Floyd, even though he doesn't fit the scheme the way you'd like him to fit it.
And Chance Warmack is there as well. They could help out on the offensive line.
Warmack fits what they do, and that makes some sense.
Yep. And big stretch the next hour and a half for the Jets franchise, starting with the first of these 2 picks.
With the 9th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select D. Milner, defensive back, Alabama.
So they went into the SEC, and they got themselves a cornerback. Revis is in Tampa, and Milner has got all that hanging around his shoulders coming in.
Essentially, Rich, New York traded Darrelle Revis for D. Milner and a 3 next year.
Well, this was their original pick right here.
I know.
Technically, it's who they get at 13.
Right.
But they might not have taken D. Milner had Darrelle Revis been here. But let's talk about this young man and what you think he can do for Rex Ryan.
I've got him as my 2nd-rated corner on the board. For me, he does everything as far as he can play press man. He can play off man. He understands zone concepts. He tackles, which is rare, but he's an Alabama corner, so he tackles. The only question I have on him are ball skills. And I went back to the combine because I didn't think on tape his ball skills looked great. And at the combine, watch him catch the football. Whoops. Okay, next drill. Pedal, pedal, whoops.
Oh my goodness.
Again, back pedal, whoops. Now let's throw him a deep one. So I'm not trying to criticize. I'm just telling you the one thing that I don't see in this kid's game are consistent hands. Everything else I love about him. Attacks the quarterback from behind, tries to strip the football. He tackles, he's tough. Double move, his eyes stay in the right place, and he's just sitting there waiting. Looks for the football, vision back to the ball. Anybody that plays for Nick Saban and plays corner is extremely well coached because Nick takes a personal interest and coaches a lot of the corners. There's the inside hand on the hip. Go find the football, interception. He's a big corner with long arms. I think Rex Ryan is going to love the fact that this kid can do anything he wants. Look at Denard Robinson lay a hit on him. I think Rex Ryan will say, hey, I can play off, I can play man, I can play zone. He's really a special young man.
This kid is willing to be aggressive, and I think that's big in the Rex Ryan Jet scheme because you still have Cromartie, who was a Pro Bowler last year.
You get rid of Revis, and then you make this pick. I mean, if you would have got, if they would have got an offensive guy, you know, maybe we can't quantify when that guy is going to help the team. But now we're going to get a chance to see.
Yeah.
And not only that, you're getting a guy that has medical questions, and you just got rid of a guy who had a medical question. So, I mean, I don't know.
He had 5 surgeries, but he didn't miss a game. He played pretty consistently.
He played through everything.
I hear you, but it's a medical versus a medical.
Yeah. And it's about, you know, how they used him, and Nick's a good coach. We all know that. You talk about, but he played mostly into the boundary. He was a boundary corner, played right and left. But I like how they used him in nickel at times.
I think they're ecstatic. If you're Tennessee right now, you've got a choice of either one of 2 players that fits a need. Remember, they signed Andy Levitre, but they still need help inside. So the young man in Bagram that said Chance Warmack is all over that. That's a potential. However, keep in mind, Sharif Floyd has fallen. Sharif Floyd's the best tackle and the best player on this board, defensive tackle. They have a need. They've been trying to backfill defensive tackle. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the pick here is Sharif Floyd.
Of the commissioner heading to the podium with the 10th overall pick, rounding out the top 10 of this 13 draft.
With the 10th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Chance Warmack, guard, Alabama.
How about that?
So Major Taylor nailed it.
Attaboy.
Are we now getting picks tipped from Afghanistan? Is that what people are going to accuse us of now? But there we go. Chance Warmack coming to the stage. That's 2 guards now in the top 10 of a draft. 5 offensive linemen going in the top 10 of this year's draft.
I told you, I thought 6 fatties would go in the top 12. and if DJ Fluker, his teammate, goes in the next 2 picks to San Diego or, well, actually Oakland's on the clock. So if he,
no, San Diego's on the clock next.
Right, well, San Diego and then Oakland, right?
Yes, sir.
For Miami. So this young man.
That's a big fella, that Mike.
Look at that.
That's a big fella.
That's a bear hug.
That's
So back-to-back champions, Alabama Crimson Tide. D. Milner goes to the Jets. Chance Warmack to the Tennessee Titans. The Chargers have already made their pick. The Raiders are on the clock. Hunt him. What's happening with these quarterbacks?
That's right, Rich. It seems like the quarterbacks are sliding, but no surprise on Ryan Nassib. The plan for the Buffalo Bills was to move back and still give themselves a chance to take Nassib. That seems to be what they could do coming up at 16.
Yeah, the interesting thing for Geno Smith, though, is all he really has left is Oakland as a possibility. If he gets past the Raiders for Geno Smith, you're talking about sliding all the way through this draft unless somebody comes back into the bottom of the 1.
Interesting. And there's the Jets at 13, too, and they could surprise everybody with that. But they'll be on the clock shortly. Right now, it's the Raiders who are on the clock. And the commissioner coming to the podium with the Bolts pick.
With the 11th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the San Diego Chargers select DJ Fluker, tackle, Alabama.
So all of Saban's guys are going now. It's a run on Alabama Crimson Tide players. Milner to the Jets, Warmack to the Titans, and now DJ Fluker is the newest protector of Phillip Rivers in Southern California, Michael.
Yeah, and that offensive line is a mess.
Yep.
And Tom Telesco, the new general manager, knows it. New head coach Mike McCoy knows it. I don't think they have a true starting offensive tackle on their roster until they drafted this young man. Now, DJ Fluker reminds me of Phil Loadhole, the right tackle in Minnesota. He's 6'5". On a good day, he's 340. He also has the longest arms in the draft. He's got very average feet, but with his length, you don't need great feet. So he'll plug in and start day 1 at right tackle. I still think they've got to upgrade the left side. King Dunlop, to me, is not an everyday starting left tackle.
And what this means is the Raiders, if they did covet Sharif Floyd, if they did want him at 3, they moved all the way down to 12. And
Good
guess
job.
who's still on the board?
Good job, McKenzie. This is doing your
Sharif
homework.
Floyd.
This is doing your homework
They're
right
still
here.
on the clock, those Raiders. And again, we'll see what's what.
Alabama Crimson Tide in a row. But you're talking about, go ahead, Mike.
No, you got it, man.
Well, look at this guy. He's a big guy with 36-inch arms, but he can move now. If it doesn't work out over here at the tackle, he can always move inside the guard. But let's play this guy at tackle. He's got a good strike. He's got a good base right here, very strong. And the reason the Alabama Crimson Tide walked all over the Notre Dame in the championship game was because this offensive line dominated the front 7. And it starts with this guy right here in Chance Warmack.
Mayock, when you look at a tackle, you rarely see a tackle with quick twitch muscles.
Right.
Like this guy.
Watch how quick he's pops.
Just look at his feet. Look how he shuffles. Watch how quick his hips are. This is. I think he can play left tackle, Mike.
And Phillip Rivers
look at his feet.
has got to be better than he has been in the last year or 2. And you help him out by protecting this guy. Because if you give Phillip Rivers time, this guy, he can slice you up. So DJ Fluker, very valuable for Mike McCoy in his new offense.
Yeah, Marshall, I don't see him on the left side. I watched a bunch of their tape. I love his length. He's got great length. He's got great hip snap in the run game. I'm not sure he can handle speed on the left side.
So Fluker is going to be out there in the AFC West in Southern California. Sharif Floyd is still available for the Raiders to choose here. The Jets are already on the clock, 90 seconds into their second first-round selection. Mike, you have the floor on this moment.
First of all, I want to give the administration of Oakland an awful lot of credit here, trading out of the 3rd slot. They didn't get book value, and I don't care. They dropped down, they got a pick, and I think it'll either be Floyd or maybe even the quarterback, Geno Smith.
All right, that would certainly light up this crowd here. As again, this is a reminder of the terms of the trade, that the 42nd overall selection that belonged to the Dolphins, who still have a 2nd-round pick, was sent to the Raiders. And the Raiders did not have a 2nd-round choice because they sent it to Cincinnati in that Carson Palmer trade. They now have that second-round choice, and they could have Sharif Floyd having their second-round choice and Sharif too.
That would be a major coup for Reggie McKenzie to get this guy he wanted and
work.
Another pick.
That's good work.
Second round. You better believe
Let's see what the commissioner has in his hands here.
With the 12th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders select DJ Hayden,
Well, there.
defensive back, Houston.
The top cornerback on Mike Mayock's draft board from Houston. You say he's the best story in this draft, Mike. He's now an Oakland Raider.
This young man almost died on the practice field on November 8th. He got a freaky hit to his chest from his own teammate. He almost bled out internally. He can play press or off. You got to root for the fairy tale ending here. But everybody at the University of Houston did the right thing. And this young man survived massive internal bleeding. He's been cleared by all 32 NFL medical staffs. People were worried about whether or not he'll be the same kid after a near-death experience as he was before. Here's what I'll tell you about this football player. At his pro day, he ran 4.38 when he was medically cleared. The first tape I put on was UCLA. In the first half against UCLA, he had a great interception, a forced fumble on a hustle play, and a pass broken up. The second game I put on, he had 2 interceptions, 1 return for 95 yards. And the third game was Louisiana Tech. You guys remember the name Quentin Patton,
Yes,
the
sir.
wide receiver from La Tech?
Yes, sir.
This kid squatted on him, didn't let him off the line of scrimmage. Patton had 4 catches for 36, and Oakland just got themselves not only a great story, but a heck of a football player.
And there's now been a run on DJs. DJ Fluker, DJ Hayden. I think our DJ, Daniel Jeremiah, they might be checking his Appalachian State tape. And as we see Geno Smith still waiting to be drafted, I want to go to our DJ, who said if he gets past the Raiders at 12, he might slip out of this first round. Daniel Jeremiah, I'd love to get your thoughts on where you think this guy, Geno Smith, is going to go.
Well, he's just starting to run out of options, Rich, when you look at it. You've got the Jets, and after that, you just look and say, where is he going to go? I don't see anybody. I think you look at Jacksonville, I believe, is very high on him, picking first in the second round. I'm sure other teams know that. Maybe they would try and leap in front of them to select him. But, Ian, it's tough to figure out where Geno's going to land.
5 days ago, when they sent Darrelle Revis south to Tampa, Sharif Floyd is sitting there. I mean, who do you think fits this Jet scheme offensively or defensively of anyone's left on your board here, Mike?
Here's what's interesting. They already picked the corner, and there's 3 high-level defensive tackles still on the board. Okay, there's Sharif Floyd, Sheldon Richardson, and Star Lotulelei, who fits what they do. However, keep in mind that offensively, an explosive playmaker is still on the market. Tyler Eifert from Notre Dame. And if you don't have a wide receiver that can help your quarterback, and you lost your tight end to free agency, I think Tyler Eifert is a logical choice in addition to one of those defensive tackles.
Absolutely, and you lose Dustin Keller now, and the quarterback's easiest target to rhythm up with is a tight end.
Now 60 seconds away from hearing who's going to join them.
I'm wondering if they're trying to trade down again.
Absolutely, because they need a couple other picks to help them out a little bit. That's probably what they're doing.
And by the way, Rich, some teams have talked about trading up for one of the defensive tackles like Sheldon Richardson or a sliding Sharif Floyd, and there's also interest in the safety you mentioned, Vaccaro, like a San Francisco coming up. So,
with the 13th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Sheldon Richardson, defensive tackle, Missouri.
There you go, Mike.
This is an explosive, freakish athlete at 310 pounds. The Jets fans are not really excited, however, about this particular pick. Sharif Floyd continues to fall. Now let's take a look at Richardson at the University of Missouri. At 310 pounds, he's one of the quickest, most explosive players I've seen on tape. Missouri, Dave Steckel, their defensive coordinator, used to stand them up. He played inside linebacker on a bunch of snaps. But as a one-gap, up-the-field penetrator, he will be a very important pawn in what Buddy Ryan and their new defensive coordinator, Dennis Thurman, do. Look how quickly he beats the tackle across his face, makes the play. Now, guys, here's his signature play against Kentucky. He's going to strip the ball. Watch the way this guy runs. At 310 pounds, look at this
big man with football.
Look at him. Now watch him step.
He rocking the number 34. You can tell this guy can run. Now, this guy led all SEC interior linemen in tackles, and that's exactly what the Jets need, because if you don't have a Darrell Reeves, you need somebody get up the field and get to the quarterback and disrupt the quarterback. That's a big guy that can get to the quarterback.
Here comes the Carolina Panthers pick, number 14 overall, everybody.
With the 14th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Star Lotulelei, defensive tackle, Utah.
Really good value. 6'2.5", 311 pounds. He won the Pac-12 Morris Trophy, which is the best defensive lineman, and I like that because it's voted by the offensive lineman in that league. He's a prototypical both nose tackle and 5 technique, meaning he can play outside the offensive tackle in a 3-4, or he can play inside. Carolina's going to love him inside, and there he is. That's pretty cool, man. Congratulations, Star.
It's a long way from Utah.
They re-signed Dwan Edwards, and he's going to be a great pair with Dwan Edwards. Now, this kid can play. He's got scheme versatility. Look at him cross the face, make a play. You can see explosion and quickness in his game. Again, now he's over the center. I love this kid over the center. He's got real good quick hands, great get off. He's going to get you some push in the pass game, and a defensive coordinator like Sean McDermott is going to love having a piece to move around in sub packages. Again, look at the tilt, the strength. Check it out right there at the point. The strength, that's really good right there, fellas. It's up the field, pushes, check that one out.
Look at that level.
When he's not tired, now at Utah, he played a big percentage of snaps. When he's not tired, that's what you see.
Wow.
Leverage, power, and explosion. Well, Mooch, it's a 34 conversion. So you've got Rob Ryan as a coach. So the first person you're thinking, I think, is Jarvis Jones, the outside linebacker from Georgia. I thought Star Lotulelei was a really obvious choice, but he's now off the board. So if it's not the edge guy, Jarvis Jones, it could be a safety, Mooch. They have some safety needs. What do you think?
Yeah, if you go with a safety, it's got to be Kenny Vaccaro. But Jarvis Jones is a guy that transferred from USC, right, with spinal stenosis. He had some issues, and all of a sudden, 2 years in a row, he's a consensus All-American. This guy led the country with sacks, with 14.5 sacks last year.
Poignant moment we're about to have.
I'm joined now by my friend Markel Gregoire from St. Jude's Research Hospital, who's going to help me announce tonight's selection for his favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Go ahead, buddy.
With the 15th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Kenny Vaccaro.
Finish it out, defensive back, Texas.
Defensive back, Texas.
There you go. Yes, sir. Well done, Markel. 13-year-old from Louisiana. Before we get to Kenny Vaccaro, the NFL is going to be St. Jude's official champion of play, and funds they raise through the relationship between the NFL and St. Jude's is going to benefit St. Jude's Child Life Department to provide St. Jude patients opportunities to play and experience a sense of normalcy while in treatment. We all know, again, the passing recently of Pat Summerall. St. Jude Research Hospital was near and dear to him. Now here we go. Here's Kenny Vaccaro now to the Saints. You like this fit, Mike?
I do, and as much as I like Roman Harper as a football player, he's somewhat limited in the box, okay? So you finally have a safety that can play with Malcolm Jenkins as far as an athlete. And I also went back to his tape a year ago, Mooch, because I wanted to see him come off the hash and play deep stuff, and he's very good at that. So he's highly athletic, inconsistent a little bit as a tackler. He's had 2 minor off-the-field instances. He's got to grow up a little bit, but outside of that, I'm telling you, he fits perfectly what they do.
Got to know him a little bit with Game Changers. He spent the day with us over here, and when you watch the film now, he's one of these newfangled safeties where you're not just playing zone. You got to come down in the box, and you got to be able to tackle. You got to be able to cover the slot. He called Ryan Swope, ran a man, and he comes off the edge, and he'll tackle. This kid is a smart guy. I'm sure the Dallas Cowboys, Michael.
Yeah, they're hurting right now. Yeah.
A guy like this.
Yeah, and this kid can cover tight ends, man. You say what you want. Now, we watch Harper, and God bless him, get beat a lot of times covering those tight ends. We watched him in Seattle a couple years ago.
Either can drop down in Jenkins and now Vaccaro, and that's what you want. You need that in this league. You can't have a strong and a free. You just have to have safeties now in this league, so you don't tell where the strength of your coverage is. And both guys need to be able to play the back end and drop in the box, even cover slots at time, and now that's what the Saints have, versatility. Who do they have to match up with? The power right now, it belongs to Atlanta. They have the receiving core, and he's going to bring them versatility on the back end. This kid here, that's a great pick for the New Orleans Saints.
And Texas has suddenly become safety U. Orchestra pit as the Bills are on the clock. Might we see a quarterback finally here, guys?
Well, the common sense would tell you it should be Ryan Nassib here to reunite with his coach, Doug Marrone from Syracuse, but I'm not so sure that's going to be the guy we got here.
Well, the only thing I'll say, Daniel, is that when you look at responsibility for who bears the brunt to this draft pick, Doug Marrone was Ryan Nassib's coach. If it doesn't work out, that could fall on Marrone. The only reason I think they could take someone else.
Thanks, guys. Marshall,
I'm staying with the quarterbacks here for Buffalo. I mean, if you decide to do, say, what Miami did last year with Tannehill, because they had his college coach, you get to do the same thing here. You draft a guy that you know what he's like off the field. You know that he's going to put the work in, but we know that Geno is the talent right here, but who they feel comfortable with could be Nassib.
I think the dark horse here could be E.J. Manuel. And what kind of surprise would that be if he was the first quarterback off the board? I love his upside and his arm.
With the 16th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select E.J. Manuel, quarterback, Florida State.
The first quarterback, the first quarterback taken is not Geno Smith. It is not Matt Barkley. It's not even the quarterback that the current coach of the Buffalo Bills coached in college. It's E.J. Manuel out of Florida State, who is now going to go to Western New York. Kurt Warner joining us from our Los Angeles studios. What would be your thought on E.J. Manuel?
Well, you know, Rich, I really liked it when I watched film on him. Big, strong guy, very mobile guy, can make all the throws down the field, very accurate. Loved his leadership, the fact that he was a winner, 25-6 when he started at Florida State. So I am a little bit surprised that he's the first quarterback off the board, but really, like Mike said, I like this kid's upside, and I think he brings everything to the table.
And he's a smart kid. I spent some time, and he was a cute kid too, wasn't he? But I spent some time with him at the Florida State Pro Day, and he's raw, but again, he's that piece of clay where you take him, Nate Hackett, Nathaniel Hackett, and you can turn him into what you want. Now, the first tape that I saw was Florida, and thank God I watched another tape, because it was his worst game. He had 3 interceptions, a forced fumble, bad decisions, but then you put the Clemson tape on. 27 for 35 for 380. Wow. 11 runs for 102. No interceptions. That's the tape that kind of opened my eyes.
Here's the Steelers pick, though, number 17.
With the 17th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Jarvis Jones, linebacker, Georgia.
That jives with most mock drafts, that this is a kid with the high motor that the Steelers can do some damage with. Usually, that's the type of player that they plug in there, right there, Mike?
He's a pretty good fit there in Pittsburgh. Questions about the medical stenosis and his 40-yard dash time, which was 4.9, but I think he's a baller. Bottom line, short area quickness. He's got a tremendous motor. He plays with leverage, and if you take a look at the Pittsburgh edge linebackers, look at James Harrison, who's now a Bengal. Look at Lamar Woodley. This kid fits from a body type and an explosion perspective. Now, he doesn't have top-end speed, but I love his motor. He plays with leverage. He gets under blocks, and he flies to the quarterback. So I think he's the perfect mold for a Pittsburgh Steeler, and I think he's going to get on the field and challenge Jason Worrells for the starting outside linebacker spot.
All right, so now here comes the commissioner back to find out, to reveal now who's going to be the San Francisco 49er. We all expected the Niners have to trade up. They had too many picks. They couldn't pay them all. Literally, this is not a hyperbole. That's truth. They couldn't pay them all.
It's not just paying them all because they have a good football team.
They can't make the team.
Last year's draft, none of them started any games. So you're going to talk about 13 picks. You're going to package a couple of them to go find a couple of guys that can contribute.
And here's what they did: is they traded up from 31 overall and flipped one of those third-round picks to the Cowboys for this selection.
The Dallas Cowboys have traded the 18th pick to the San Francisco 49ers.
I love this.
With the 18th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Eric Reed, defensive back, LSU.
Well, they lost to Sean Goldston in free agency to Tampa.
Yep.
Now this might be the guy that they just plug in that spot in the secondary? Is it that simple?
I talked to a bunch of teams today, and San Francisco was working the phones very actively all day long, trying to get up to a point where they could take a safety. And Rich, you hit it on the head. With Deshaun Goldston gone, there's nobody to step in and play. This kid is a big physical safety with great movement skills. Now, again, not a consistent tackler. I wasn't wild about his bowl game against Clemson.
I just think schematically, if you look at what they do at LSU and what they're going to ask him to do, how you play the alleys, how you sometimes cover the corner up, how you drop down in the box, this is just a natural fit. Trip walking them, this is a natural fit for them.
There he is with a young girl out there in Radio City. Neat to share it with family, with the commissioner of the NFL. What do you think Jerry Reese and the rest of that crew are eyeing, Mike?
I don't see Teo here. They signed an inside linebacker, Danny Connor, to compete with Herzlich. I think they need an offensive lineman, and people are going to say that board's been picked over, but a very non-sexy pick is the correct pick here for me, and that's Justin Pugh from Syracuse. They're 33 and 31 years old on the right side. Chris Snee is coming off hip surgery. This kid can play guard or tackle, and that offensive line needs youth and versatility.
Well, Rich, all the way through we've heard that two teams had big infatuation with Manti Te'o. One of them was the Vikings, another one was Chicago Bears. They obviously have to replace Brian Urlacher. From everything I heard, talking to people involved in this situation, I heard the Vikings would have to jump the Bears if they wanted to get Te'o.
Yeah, and the last possibility would be the Ravens with pick number 32.
Always interesting when a metropolitan area team or anyone in the Turnpike corridor makes a pick here in Radio City.
With the 19th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Justin Pugh, tackle, Syracuse.
There you go, Coach.
There you go.
I told you it wasn't sexy, but I love the pick.
She loves it.
You know, the Giants fans, they trust their GM and their picks. There's just a different noise in this building. The Giants fans trust the stability of Jerry Reese and their general manager and their picks, and understanding that, listen, this guy is going to come and help our team be a swing man. He can play inside and out.
Marshall.
Why certain guys would you say forget the arms? Does he? Is it his feet?
It's a combination of being a great feet and a technician.
Okay.
He takes great angles. He never missteps, and when he locks on, he's got heavy hands. So here you can see him against left tackle. Again, how simple was that, right? Almost everything he does, he's under control. Left tackle. He sits into it. He's a natural bender on the left side. Okay. Now, for the Giants, I think he's going to play right tackle or right guard just because of the age and the injuries. But this is a guy with really good feet, and he's a technician. I love watching this kid's tape.
Mike, I asked you that because my coworker, Hall of Famer Warren Sapp, always tell me long levers win when you're dealing with tackles and defensive ends. So when you tell me a guy can play and he has short arms, I just want you to explain it to me.
I hear
and that's perfect. He's a technician.
Listen, I spent some time with Manti earlier this week and with wide receiver friend Robbie Toma, and we talked a little bit about football. And the one team that Manti really asked me about was the Chicago Bears. He wanted to know my opinion on the Chicago Bears, and at the time I thought, well, read into that what you will, and now I think we have the opportunity to see if that is in fact the team that he is going to be drafted by here at number 20. Of course, they need a middle linebacker in the absence of Brian Urlacher, and it was not lost at all when I spoke with Manti Te'o on what that would mean to step in and fill that leadership role. But if there's one thing that Manti can do and that he knows is a strength of his, it's being a leader.
Is there somebody else? Could it be Ogletree? Could that also be of interest to them? You know what they need too? They need a tight end in the worst way.
Yeah, you could have one of two Notre Dame players right here in this slot with Eifert and or Te'o. We've hit the Te'o zone here. Chicago at 20, Minnesota 23 and 25, and then at the far end, of course, you've got Baltimore. So I think Te'o goes somewhere in here, and you mentioned Ogletree. He's scared a lot of teams with his off-the-field stuff. He's a wonderful athlete. He plays linebacker like the former safety that he is, and his off-the-field stuff has scared people. So I'm not so sure how far he could go.
The board gone for the night. Here's the commish.
With the 20th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Kyle Long, guard, Oregon.
There you go. Howie's son is going to be playing in the NFC North and trying to keep people off of Jay Cutler.
And boy, what I have to tell you, he's one of my favorite players in the draft. He's one of the most aggressive offensive linemen. He's a gifted kid. He's immediately a starting guard that down the road could be a starting tackle. Now, when you talk about bloodlines, okay, we're talking about big old 75, fellow Hall of Famer, couple of my buddies up here. Howie Long, one of the most explosive defensive linemen in the history of the game. And then, of course, Howie's oldest son, Chris Long. Chris was the the second pick in the draft. Has become one of the best defensive ends in the draft. And I think Kyle's a different kind of guy now. Kyle went to Florida State to play baseball. He's raw, he's aggressive, but down the road, he's going to be special too.
And he is now a Chicago Bear, as we are still waiting to see if Geno Smith is going to get drafted tonight out of West Virginia. First round selection tonight, Mike.
Part of this is St. Louis traded out and Atlanta's on the clock.
Yes,
I think that's Tyler Eifert.
Okay.
Okay, I believe,
Smart.
a corner. It's either a tight end or a corner, I believe, for Atlanta trading up. Xavier Rhodes is still on the board, and Tyler Eifert is still on the board. So that trade up with it for Atlanta is probably there. And now we're going to go up to Roger Goodell for the previous pick.
For the Bengals.
For the Bengals.
With the 21st pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Tyler Eifert, tight end, Notre Dame.
Now, in case you're wondering, again, as we mentioned, when a pick is made, the team that's next on the clock and the rest of the teams that are still on the clock know who it is. So the Falcons trade was pulled off with them knowing Eifert's already off the board. That said, he is now going to Cincinnati, where Gresham is already there, and they've got an incredible group of athletes to catch the ball from Andy Dalton.
And the Andy Dalton thing is critical. If they're going to take the next step, and remember, they've lost 2 years in a row to Houston in the wild card. How do you get over that hump? You need another playmaker, and Dalton has to take another step up.
We know about A.J. Green and Andy Dalton setting all kinds of records as youngsters, but now we got a lot of teams thinking about two tight ends at the same time and going a little no huddle and spreading those guys out.
It had to be a tight end or a corner. And they can't line up in practice right now with the number of corners on their roster. Asante Samuel is really the only starting corner. Robert McLean's a kid that they picked up that played pretty well in the nickel. They have to get a starting corner. I think it's either Xavier Rhodes from Florida State or Desmond Trufant from Washington. It all depends whether they want a longer body or a quicker-footed, smaller guy.
The St. Louis Rams have traded the 22nd pick to the Atlanta Falcons. With the 22nd pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Desmond Trufant, defensive back, Washington.
Now that's the player I gave him at 30 yesterday, but they trade up and get him at 22, and it fits a need. Quick-footed corner. I love this kid at the Senior Bowl. He competed. He's got some return skills. Love his change of direction. The only question on him is inconsistent physicality. But I believe playing in Atlanta with defensive coordinator Mike Nolan, you're going to see this kid flourish. 4-year starter, Mooch. Really a special athlete.
Yeah, and what I liked about him, they didn't just lock him into the boundary as the boundary corner. They moved him to both sides of the field. At times, he would cover the best receiver from the opponent. He's confident like that. Of course, he has a couple brothers playing in the league already. So he's been around this pro thing for a long, long time. But I like his skills.
And you guys were earlier talking about that bloodline. Let me tell you, when you got a guy and he has brothers in the league, what you have out of him, you will get him competing every week. Not just against the receivers that he's playing against, but also Marcus and Isaiah, his brothers that are corners in this league. That's a good pick.
And Michael, just to kind of qualify, okay, 47 starts. 4-year starter. He ran 4.4, he jumped 37 inches.
Track guy.
He was also a gunner on special teams.
Toughness.
So when you start talking about value, that's the kind of guy every coach loves.
And that's toughness at the cornerback position. What I like.
Sharif Floyd is still out there. Geno Smith is still out there.
I've been texting around the league on Sharif, and I've been getting some responses from different teams. And one team sent me back 5 career sacks. Another team said some character concerns. So it sounds like there's a combination of different things that might be going on with Floyd. All I know is he was the most explosive defensive tackle I saw on tape all year.
In the 2013 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Sharif Floyd, defensive tackle, Florida.
So there you go. There's Sharif Floyd, 23rd overall, not 3rd overall, 23rd overall.
You know what, though? Sharif's going to a good football team, and he's going to play with a guy by the name of Kevin Williams, a former first-round pick who was becoming all-pro out of Oklahoma State. And Sharif's going to learn from him both about the NFL,
but a good mentor, somewhat like a father that can help this kid, and hopefully he doesn't make some of the same mistakes that he's made earlier.
I spoke to his coach, Bryant Young, who was a Pro Bowler for a lot of years in San Francisco. He was coaching the defensive line at Florida, and he said this guy's just scratching the surface because he's talented, he's athletic, he hustles, and he's just learning how to play the game right now. Great upside with this guy. Yeah, we thought maybe he'd be a top 5 pick, but you know what? He went to a better team by sliding down this. We talked about Williams and Jared Allen on the edge. Whoa, that's a pretty good front now.
He's going to get some single coverage in sub situations, and this kid's going to do some damage next year. Look for him to get a minimum of 6 to 8 sacks.
Kind of like a Maurice Jones-Drew.
Check this guy out here now. Point of attack against LSU. Slides, watches the football, had 2 to 3 bodies on him that entire time, but what he really is here, it's quick. Cross the face, get up the field. He dominated the Florida State game. He was the best football player on the field. A little bit of a Reggie White hump move there. Florida used him both outside and inside. He's much better inside when he can watch the vision now. He controls the blocker, vision, slide to the football. He can go sideline to sideline. Watch him cross the face, swim inside, make a play. Now, the only thing he's got to get a little better at is more stout at the point of attack. Sometimes he turns sideways into those double teams and gets washed out. But when it's one gap up the field, he's special.
Manti Te'o, might he be the one to go to the Vikings? Is he going to go in the next remaining picks? Our pit crew, give us the latest on this, please.
Well, you look at Manti Te'o, you look at 2 options with Minnesota and also with the Ravens at 32. I think those are his best 2 shots. What about Geno?
Well, Geno Smith, you start looking at some of the teams early in the 2nd round, possibly trading down. The Eagles are a possibility, maybe the Cardinals, maybe even the Jets, who were said to like him. Someone might have to jump up and get him now.
And there he is in the green room right now, letting his smile be a little bit of an umbrella right there. But then again, now when you slip to this area, as I mentioned, you're slipping into playoff teams.
Yeah.
These aren't bad teams to be drafted by, and obviously first-round choices. You are what you are if you're a first-round draft choice. Doesn't matter if you're 1 or if you're 32. That's what you are.
Long as not long as one of those other teams doesn't jump back up in there. That's not very good.
Oh, it's always...
And then you got dinged twice. You lose the draft pick, and then you still got to go to one of those teams.
To that, quickly, Colts. What do you think?
One of two things. Either a corner, Chuck Pagano likes those off-man corners. I think Rhodes could be that. Or maybe we start to see some more wide receivers come into play.
All right, let's hear what the commissioner has to say. He's got the pick of the Blue Horseshoe. The Colts, who were first overall last year, now 24th. That's how quickly things can change.
With the 24th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Bjorn Werner, defensive end, Florida State.
Taste of Germany is coming to Indianapolis.
And I had on my #1 team needs was a 34 outside linebacker. Warner was a hand-in-the-dirt defensive end at Florida State, but he's got the athletic ability to stand up. I think he's really a good fit for Chuck Pagano. Very similar to a guy by the name of Kruger that he drafted in the 2nd round when he was the Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator. Here he is off the edge. I like his vision. What Warner is one of those guys that does everything really well, but he doesn't have one spectacular physical trait. He does everything well, but nothing great. Now, that can be a real good player. Remember Kruger being drafted by Chuck Pagano? 3 years later, he became an All-Pro, and then in his 4th year, made big money in Cleveland. So this is a similar kind of guy. He will thrive in a Chuck Pagano system.
13 sacks, man. 13 sacks last year, 14 starts. He has had games, 3.5 sacks against Florida, 4 sacks against another team. This guy can get to the quarterback. Now, Mike, I would be worried a little bit about him being the ability to drop and make and cover and all of those things. But when it comes to saying get to the quarterback, he knows how to do that.
I was at his pro day, and they put him through the linebacker drop drills, and it was way better than I expected.
We'll chew on that as Roger Goodell comes to the podium right now.
Could this be Teo?
We'll see.
With the 25th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Xavier Rhodes, defensive back, Florida State.
So there's a corner, and both Vikings picks come and go, and neither of them are Manti Te'o.
And both of them were defensive player, a defensive tackle, which was the best 3 technique in the draft, and now the long, powerful corner, Xavier Rhodes.
And it's back-to-back Florida State players here in the latter half of the 2013 draft. And again, running through the photographs from birth through elementary school as they grow up, dreaming of the moment that you see playing out on the right side of your screen. Xavier Rhodes is going to the Minnesota Vikings, and he will join a Florida Gator there that they acquired in the Percy Harvin trade. So Harvin going to Seattle results in Xavier Rhodes bringing his talents from Florida to Minnesota. We are live here in Radio City Music Hall. So who do you think the Packers go? Do you think they go defense, Steve Mariucci?
You know, unless they go with a running back, they might want a banger in there with Eddie Lacy. That helps the running game with the Green Bay Packers. They don't rely much on the running game, but this would be a good time to pick a running back, Marshall. And then this Cordero Patterson guy from Tennessee, he's got to be chomping at the bit right now to get picked by one of these teams.
I wouldn't mind to see Matt Elam here also. You know, for the Packers here, a safety that can get in and make some plays, and he can make some plays. Now, as I see the receivers dropping, I mentioned the Texans. If the Texans can get Cordero Patterson, that explosiveness, who I think is a lot like Julio Jones with all the other weapons that they have, and they can assimilate him in slowly, that could be dangerous.
I like what you said about Patterson with Andre Johnson in that room.
Absolutely.
There's some immaturity with the kid, and I think being in the room with a great pro like Andre Johnson and learning how to play the game would be perfect. Now for Green Bay, I'm so tired of running back by committee over there right now. It's like nobody's got the job, and I think I'm tired of it, and I want to see Eddie Lacy take that job. Safety makes sense. I don't think there's an edge rusher here. I don't think there's an offensive lineman here. So I think it's either Lacy or a safety.
Still no back taken.
With the 26th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Dayton Jones, defensive end, UCLA.
One of Jim Moore's kids coming to the stage right now.
He's a good player. He's the 27th player on my board. And because Green Bay plays a 3-4 defense, this kid's an ideal fit. Now, at UCLA, they moved him all over the front. He lined up on nose, he's scheme diverse, and I love the kid's upside. At the Senior Bowl, he played at 280 pounds, and look at the family react.
On Skype,
oh, yeah.
They're having a great time there.
We're going from the West Coast to some snow, baby.
That's right.
But I'll tell you what, he fits their scheme. The only thing that surprises me is last year they took Jarrell Worthy, the year before Mike Neal. But this kid, watch him, little swim move.
Ooh.
He can play outside right there in a 3-4, and then he can kick inside in a sub package. He's the only one I saw who beat Eric Fisher all week long in one-on-one. There he is inside. Look at the speed and the close to the tackle.
Good job.
Jim Mora told me that this kid's upside is ahead of him. He's going to be a better pro than a collegiate, and as you can tell, this is a heck of a collegiate. Look at the speed.
Oh, and the UCLA-USC game got that much more interesting in the Green Bay Packer locker room with him manning the same line as the bloodline, Clay Matthews. And this is, I guess, you got to go hunt Jay Cutler twice a year, and you gotta stop teams. You got to get off on third down. They had such trouble doing that, and that wasn't the pass rush fault, but they just that defense last year was not.
If I'm Dom Capers, I'm going, okay, I got a guy I can line up on first down over the tackle, and he's stout enough to hold the point. But when we have some fun in our sub packages, I'm going to move him all over my front. He's going to be too quick for some of those inside guys, and he's going to cause havoc.
I mean, there are certain players in this draft that have the name, and obviously Manti Te'o is one that many people who don't even follow the sport closely have already heard of. And then you've got a quarterback in Geno Smith, who has certainly the numbers to support a first-round grade. Like, you have him as one. And you have to wonder, of those who are actually still on the board, Texans, Broncos, Patriots, Rams, Dallas, Ravens, who would take either one of those two? The Ravens obviously might be a home for Te'o. It seems someone may have to come up and trade for Geno Smith, or you put your head on the pillow tonight, and we're waiting to hear what's going to come out of the Two Johns war room in Denver. But right now, here's the Texans pick.
With the 27th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select DeAndre Hopkins, wide receiver, Clemson.
So here's your wide receiver. It's DeAndre Hopkins out of Clemson, Irv.
And DeAndre, if you see he ran a 4.57 there, and I talked about it, but this is a big guy that can make plays. And when you want to be, you got Andre Johnson already, and he can get up the field. He can go. I really like the way this guy makes plays. And who does he remind me of? He reminds me a lot of Rowdy White, a guy that's hard, plays football, plays all over the field, plays anywhere you need him to play. Rowdy White goes inside and plays. He makes plays outside. That's why I like DeAndre Hawkins. This is a good pickup. Kevin Walters no longer in Houston. This is what I talked about last year was the problem for the Houston Texans. They needed that other guy, that other receiver, and they just picked him up.
If you want to argue with that pick, put the LSU tape on. 13 catches for 191. LSU's a pretty good football team, right? He took the game over in the fourth quarter. He had 8 catches against a draftable corner, a first-round safety. He took the game over when it mattered the most. He's a little bit below the radar. He's a big-body guy that competes as well as anybody I've seen in college football. I would bang the table for him, even though he's not a burner.
Well, they must have done their housekeeping, if you will, on
I knew you were going there, Rich.
Indianapolis housekeeping issues, and they went ahead and drafted What? That's what everyone was talking about for the last 10 days. You're telling me I should have put the Do Not Disturb sign on that one. So, Mike Mayock, the Broncos. What do you think they
I'm going to give you 3 names. This is a really good football team. Not a whole lot of openings. Either DeMontre Moore from Texas A&M to replace Doomerville, Sylvester Williams inside. Remember, they signed Terrence Knighton. Pot roast gets a little big sometimes. They're still looking for defensive tackles, or maybe even Manti Te'o. Remember, Keith Brooking, 37 years old, was their inside linebacker a year ago.
With the 28th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Sylvester Williams, defensive tackle, North Carolina.
And that makes sense to me. Sly Williams. This is a kid that can immediately come in and start at defensive tackle. He can stay in the game on sub packages. By my calculations, I think he's Butch Davis's 34th first-round pick. We talked about Jonathan Cooper earlier. He's a gifted interior presence. I need him to make some more plays, though. He seems like he almost gets there too often. I just need him to finish. He's stout against the run. And again, with what they have inside, remember, they signed Kevin Vickerson. They re-signed him. They signed Terrence Knighton from Jacksonville. I think he's going to be a rotational guy that will get a lot of production.
Warren Sapp and I had him at the Home Depot Center for Game Changers, and I know Warren Sapp's watching, and he loved this guy because when we went through the drills and we spent the entire day with him, boy, he was quick. He can be the three. He can penetrate. He can chase. He can swim, move. Look at him bat down balls and intercept things. This guy now is an athlete inside. Can he play a 1, a 3, and he can chase, and he's going to stay on the field. He's a 3-down player. He's not just a defensive lineman that's going to come off on 3rd down. He'll play a nickel.
He shouldn't want to come off the field. Coach, after high school, he thought he was through with football. He was working in a manufacturing company, making radiators. He should say, I'm never coming off the field. You know how many radiators you have to make the kind of money he's going to make?
Could be Cordero Patterson.
They've already gotten 2 defensive players. My money's on Cordero Patterson. If you want to get better in Minnesota, you've got to help Christian Ponder out. So it smells like Te'o because that feels good. But
why does that feel good?
Because we spend so much time talking about it.
Proximity, he's close.
No, but okay.
But I'm rooting for the kid, so for me it feels good. Everybody wants to. Yeah. But the bottom line for me is, let's get back to reality, is it's either Te'o, but my gut tells me it's a wide receiver.
And look what the Patriots receive. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 7th. All for the Vikings.
I know I'm close, but I got to get better on offense.
Got to get some help.
And I need some help after losing Percy Harvin. I know I got Greg Jennings, but I need some more help out there. And I really think it's Cordero Patterson. The more I look at this and the more I think about this, I think he's the pick.
With the 29th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Cordero Patterson, wide receiver, Tennessee.
So it is not Manti Te'o, but it is this young man, very talented Tennessee Volunteer, who is going to take his considerable talents to the Metrodome.
Look, when you take 3 picks in the 1st round and you were a playoff team a year ago, what you're basically doing is you're doing this. You're throwing everything into the middle of the table, every chip you have, and you're saying we're going to compete this year. You got 2 explosive players on defense, and now after Tavon Austin, you've got the most explosive offensive player in the draft. Is he a little bit immature? Yes. Does he got some concerns off the field? Yes. But I'll tell you right now, Leslie Frazier is going to be a great figure to him.
A long distance, and this is the guy.
He's got the versatility of a Tavon Austin, where you can run, throw, catch, kick return, punt return, you name it. This guy has done everything but sell popcorn for that team. Coming out of Hutchinson Community College for 2 years, only played 1 year in big-time football at Tennessee. But boy, when you put the tape on, this guy is exciting. For a big man,
crazy.
Give him the ball. He's a dangerous guy, hard to tackle. He can go the distance anytime.
So welcome back, way back when the Cowboys were on the clock at 18. The 49ers flipped them their 3rd round pick, 74th overall, to swap spots. The 49ers popped up to take Eric Reed, the hard-hitting safety from LSU, to Atlanta. Here is the commissioner with the 30th overall pick and the Rams' 2nd first-round selection of the night.
With the 30th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the St. Louis Rams select Alec Ogletree, linebacker, Georgia.
Well, I'll tell you, Les Snead played a little poker tonight and won. Alec Ogletree with some off-the-field issues slid. He's much more talented a player than the 30th overall pick in the draft. Had some well-known off-the-field issues. He plays linebacker like the safety he used to be, but he does have an exciting skill set. This kid does not take on the blockers, but he's a great athlete, and he just looks relieved to me.
There he is in Atlanta, Georgia, and here he is from his days between the hedges there.
Yeah, go ahead, Marshall.
They have James Laurinaitis. They've been looking for outside linebackers. They've tried to plug different guys in. You put this guy at the weak side linebacker spot, and now you have a guy that, I mean, he can flat out get after it. I believe that this is a great addition to this defense it's stout. We saw it on Thursday Night Football against the Cardinals. They're going to be pretty good. He's going to really add to what they're doing right now. Jeff Fisher loves these typs of guys.
And we remember a guy named Brian Urlacher, who used to be a safety, moved to be a pretty darn good linebacker. Now this guy can run. He's 4'7".
What do you think?
Well, I think they need a safety, and Matt Elam is still on the board. That would be my #1 selection. They need interior offensive linemen, but that board has been picked over. And outside of that, I know they want to get a running back, but I think that's later on. And at some point, you're going to have to get a defensive tackle. Ratliff is 32, Hatcher's 31. They're going to a 4-man line. I don't think they'd go K'Wan Short here, but that's a possibility.
We have to wonder again. I promise you this is the last time I mention him within the first round, Manti Te'o. We'll see if he was selected by the Ravens or he will slip out of the first round, as many people suppose he might just do with the whole.
If I'm Manti, I may want to slip out of the first round instead of backing up Ray Lewis in Baltimore. I mean, just say go.
Why not?
That's quite a backup right there. Come after Ray Lewis.
Baltimore needs a safety and an inside linebacker. Right now, Elam and Te'o are both on the board.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Dallas here, who could take one of them.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm looking at your draft board. You've got first-round grades on Elam, Te'o, and DeMontre Moore, and that's it on the defensive side. And on the offensive side of the ball, the only first-round grades of anyone who has not been selected yet, Justin Hunter, who is Patterson's teammate at Tennessee, Eddie Lacy.
Yeah.
We might go an entire first round without a running back taken. My condolences to you, sir. And then there's Geno Smith and Matt Barkley, and that's it. Those are the only first-round grade guys that are remaining. And we mentioned moments ago when we were monitoring both our Twitter accounts at Marshall Falk and at Rich Eisen. Aaron Rodgers tweeted out, "Hang in there, Geno. Good things come to those who wait," quoting Paul Tagliabue, as Aaron Rodgers was back there in a Tagliabue commissionered draft, dropping all the way down to 24, which Mike Mayock never toots his own horn. You pegged that in your mock draft, that Rodgers was not going to be selected #1 overall. It was going to be Alex Smith, and Rodgers would go all the way down to 24. And boy, has that been the greatest thing that has ever happened to Aaron Rodgers.
Wow.
For that to happen.
Put him back in the draft today. They'll take him #1 overall.
But that wasn't just his only wait. Let's be honest, that wasn't just his only wait. He had to wait for the post-Favre era to finally hit as well. So there was a lot of waiting, not only in the draft room, but in Green Bay. So we're waiting.
The Dallas Cowboys select Travis Frederick, center, Wisconsin.
Wow, wow, wow. I have a third-round grade on Travis Frederick, and I like him. He's a tough guy, especially in short areas. Dallas right now has Phil Costa, who's a restricted free agent, Ryan Cook, a retread from Minnesota. This is a kid, a typical Wisconsin offensive lineman. He's tough, he takes great angles, he's strong, but I had a third-round grade on him, and I think it's a little bit of a reach at this point.
Especially since in that regard, if just to back up your point, that's the way you feel about it, they have a 47th overall selection.
Yeah, I'm going to take this one, Rich. When you look at the Ravens here, the interesting thing is they could go Manti Te'o at linebacker, but they also haven't needed safety, having lost both guys from this past offseason. Now, you bring in Michael Huff to take care of one of those spots, but they still need to fill that other safety spot. So it could be Manti Te'o at linebacker, or it could be a safety, somebody like Matt Elam.
Yeah, Rich, and when you think about what the Ravens did at safety, remember, they also signed Rolando McClain. He's had some legal issues, just got arrested again. Still plenty of question marks, so Te'o would fit here, and Ozzie Newsome has said he was comfortable, but like DJ said, they got some needs elsewhere.
While we watch the commissioner walking behind you. Here it is, the final first-round selection of the draft in 2013.
With the 32nd pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Matt Elam, defensive back, Florida.
Why the Cowboys didn't get Matt Elam?
That concludes the first round of the 2013 NFL Draft. Thank you all for making tonight special. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow night at 6:30 Eastern Time for rounds 2 and 3. Good night, everybody.
And for that night, both Geno Smith and Manti Te'o will be available, and Matt Barkley, because Matt Elam was the final pick of the first round. He will be the one he's got some big Manti. Maybe we want to fill Ray Lewis's shoes.
Yeah.
But how about this one? Ed Reed. Ed Reed's are pretty large shoes to be filled too. And Michael Irvin. I don't know if your mic was on, but he's like, man, why didn't the Cowboys get Matt Elam? Jerry even hears it from his Hall of Famers. You're like a first-time listener.
Mike didn't want you to repeat
Long-time listener, first-time caller right there. No, I don't know if it was there. Mike Mayock, you're the man. Michael Irvin, good job out of you. Steve Mariucci, good to see you.
I just want you to know, Michael was disappointed that Dallas took a center.
That's Rich Eisen signing off.
I know what's going to be
from Radio City Music Hall. NFL Total Access. Do not move. It starts right now.